Hello viewers and potential subscribers, you are watching Unknown Emerald, and today I'll be showing you how I made my Maid Jax mask from the amazing digital circus. Here is my most recent hyperfixation and I made this mask in literally 2 or 3 days, so without any more delay, let's get to it. Step number 1 was to get myself a plastic bowl from AliExpress which would serve as the base of the head. This one actually splits into 2 halves, which is perfect because then I was able to put a plastic sheet in between that would act as a separator and make the head of Jax a little bit wider, because it's not just a circle, it does have a little bit of width to it. The next step was to hot glue everything together, and when you do that I highly recommend using a much hotter glue gun because then it melts the plastic along with the hot glue, which is perfect because then it bonds the 2 pieces better. If you use a colder glue gun then the pieces might not stick together as well and it might break in the process, so I just recommend using a hotter glue. And then at the end I just used an extra bit of tape to secure it further down on the sides. Once I was happy with the overall shape of the head, I moved on to cutting out the eyes and the mouth. But before I did that, I got a few reference images online to get an idea of what I want the eyes and the mouth to actually look like. As you know from the show, Jax has multitudes of faces when he gets the maid outfit put on him, and I chose the one where he's kind of like a little bit angry about it, which I thought was perfect fit for it. Then I moved on to cutting out the eyes and the mouth with a Dremel tool, which is a tool that kind of like is a little bit of a saw. If you do have a Dremel tool, I highly recommend you use that, and if you do not, I guess like a regular hacksaw of some sort might do the trick, but use a Dremel if you have one at hand. After all the sanding down and making the edges of the plastic smooth, I moved on to adding color onto Jax, and for this I used some adhesive felt from eBay, and this stuff is great because it actually stretches out quite a bit, which works perfectly for this because it's a curvature of a shape, and when you stretch out obviously the curves go with the stretch. So I don't have any process of me actually doing it because I am a Dumbo, but as you can see from the result I was able to stretch it nearly to perfection, and I'm just going to show you some seams along the line. So I actually used a little bit of a stencil knife to cut the lower edges on the side because I didn't want it to overlap and create any bumps along the edges. I'm also very sorry about this nightmare view you're currently looking at, but without the eyes or the mouth, Jax's head looks terrifying. But anyways, moving on, you can see those plastic bits sticking out of Jax's head. Those are actually an L shape and they go on the inside of the mask, so I made little slots using the Dremel tool mentioned before, and those little bits kind of go in an L shape and get stuck from underneath the mask, and those will be for the ears on a later stage. For both the eyes and the mouth, I used something called a mesh fabric, which is a fantastic piece of material which you can very easily see out of and is very difficult to see into, a little bit like a tainted car window in a way. So I spray painted it into the color I wanted. I highly recommend you don't use yellow because it's a little bit contrasty. Stick to something like a vanilla color instead and it will look a lot nicer. Plus Jax's color aren't exactly strong yellow, are they? And now it is time to make Jax even more fabulous, and to do that I used the exact same felt as you saw before, but this time in black and pink. The black was used for the eyelashes, the eyebrows and the little bits on the eyes, as well as the teeth separators, and obviously the pink for the little blush strokes to make Jax a little bit embarrassed for wearing a maid outfit. One of the last steps to do now was to create a frame for my head to sit on so that when I wear the mask it wouldn't bubble around like a bobblehead inside of a car. To do that I used a little bit of foam and some plastic that you saw at the beginning of the video to create this shape that you're seeing in front of you right now. Doesn't have to be anything perfect, it just needs to act as a little bit of a helmet so that your head can rest and the head wouldn't go back and forth as you walk around. And the reason I chose to do that at the very end was just so I could adjust it accordingly so that the head is kind of like in level with the eyes and the mouth, and my vision is perfect for when I walk around with this mask on. Final little details included things like the headband, which was made out of felt but this time not adhesive, and it was wrapped around a little bit of plastic that you saw at the beginning of the video once more, and then hot glue gunned onto the top of the head. And to the side over here you can see a few extra adhesive bits such as eyebrows and eyelashes, as well as the outskirts of the eye, for which I just used a black strip thinly cut into the kind of like border of the eye. And this concludes the tutorial on how I made my Maid Jax mask. If you have any questions whatsoever, please say so in the comment section below and I'll be sure to answer them. And just before we go, here are a few sneak peek photos of me wearing the full costume in Hyper Japan last Saturday. It was a wonderful day and I had so many fantastic reactions to this costume. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next time, so see you. Boop.